In this tutorial, I'm going to be going over highlights of the review that you received in class on Wednesday. It starts with a chart that's asking you to look at the three religions that you studied this semester: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Those three religions are listed in order from oldest to newest. So Judaism was the oldest, then came Christianity, then came Islam. A holy city for all three religions is Jerusalem. Jerusalem has historical sites that are significant for all three religions, and that's what makes Jerusalem a very conflicted city, because there are three different religions that are all claiming holy sites in that one city. The holy texts for these three religions: for Judaism, it is the Torah; for Christianity, it is the Bible; and in Islam is the Quran. A major belief that is shared among all three religions is the belief of monotheism. This is a term that means belief in one God. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all believe in one God. The place of worship in Judaism is a synagogue. In Christianity, it is a church. And in Islam, it is a mosque. All three religions have divisions within them, or different sects. For example, Catholics and Protestants in Christianity, Orthodox, Conservative, and Reformed in Judaism. And in Islam, those divisions, the two major ones, are Sunni and Shia Islam. The 5 pillars of Islam are covered in a separate YouTube tutorial if you need more explanation of them. They are faith, prayer, charity, fasting, and pilgrimage. Fundamentalism is the wish to return to the basic teachings or the fundamentals of a religion. This results usually in a very literal, very strict interpretation of the holy book of a particular religion. In terms of Southwest Asia, where we're talking about Islamic fundamentalism, this has meant that the rights of women have been extremely, extremely restricted. It's in some of these countries that have more of a fundamentalist government, where women are not allowed to go to school, women are not allowed to vote, and that they must be covered virtually from head to toe. In Afghanistan, the fundamentalist group that used to control the government until the United States invaded is called the Taliban. The Taliban was removed from power after the United States invaded Afghanistan in 2001, but they are trying to come back to power to control the government once more. Secular is a term that means not ruled by religion. So usually when we're talking about the word secular, we're referring to governments being secular, or sometimes we could refer to schools being secular. You go to a secular school. We don't have a religious service in the middle of our school day, for example. We do not teach classes that are required that are teaching you about one particular religion. In terms of government, if you are in a country with a secular government, which you are, the United States has a secular government, it means that basically we have a separation of church and state. If you can compare that with a country like Iran, which has a theocracy, Iran's laws can be put into place and they can be aligned with Islamic law. And so in a country that's secular, you're going to have laws that are passed by government that the people vote on. And in a type of government that is non-secular, it's going to be pretty much according to the religion. In Southwest Asia, there are 2 very important resources. Oil is an important resource because it is very abundant. There's a lot of oil in Southwest Asia, and it's the basis of many countries' economies. The downside to that is that if the price of oil goes down, then that's going to negatively affect the economy of these countries. They base so much of their economy on oil that if the price of that one resource goes down, that can make their economies suffer a big hit. Water is also extremely important to Southwest Asia because it is so rare and it is so necessary that it is often the most valuable resource because it is the most scarce resource. Most of the oil in Southwest Asia is found in and around the Persian Gulf. In order for that oil to be transported out of the Persian Gulf, it has to go through a strategic waterway called the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is one of many strategic waterways in Southwest Asia. Some other strategic waterways are the Bosporus and the Dardanelles, which are the two straits in Turkey which connect the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. The Suez Canal, which connects the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, and the Red Sea, which connects the Arabian Peninsula and Africa. The process of desalinization removes salt from water. So you can take water out of the Arabian Sea or out of the Indian Ocean. You can take the salt out of that water, and then you could use it for drinking or for farming. Some of the challenges with this process are that it is highly technical, which makes it take a long time sometimes, and it makes it very expensive. The climate of Southwest Asia is mostly desert. It is very, very dry. There are parts around the Mediterranean Sea and the Caspian Sea and Iran which do get a little bit more rainfall, and you're going to have more farmland that is suitable to agriculture, but a lot of it is very dry and not suited to agriculture. There's one exception to this, and those are around our rivers. For example, the Fertile Crescent, which is in between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Iraq, is very well suited for agriculture because of the rivers being used for irrigation of farmland. Israel was created in 1948 by the United Nations as a homeland for the Jewish people. When Jewish people began to immigrate into Israel after 1948, that didn't sit well with the Palestinian people, which had already been settled in that area called Palestine. So the groups that are involved in the Israel-Palestine conflict are, first of all, the Israelis, most of which are Jewish, and the Palestinians, which are Muslim. The whole background of the conflict is because the Palestinians want their own country, but in order to do that, you would have to take land away from Israel, and the government of Israel has not been willing to do that. And there has been violence on both sides. I discussed the Fertile Crescent earlier. It is in between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in present-day Iraq. A theocracy is a government that is run according to religion. Iran is an example of a theocracy because the supreme ruler of Iran, the Ayatollah, is the leader of Islam for that country. All of the laws in Iran are in accordance to the Quran and Islamic law, making it very much a theocracy. Again, that is in direct contrast to a country like Turkey, which has more of a modern democracy that is secular. It is not run according to religion. OPEC stands for the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, which means there are a lot of countries that export a lot of oil that are members of this organization. Not every country that has oil is a member of OPEC. The United States is not a member. Most of OPEC's members are from Southwest Asia, but not all of them. The purpose of OPEC is to control the supply of oil worldwide. And when you control the supply of oil worldwide, you're also basically controlling the price of oil worldwide. So OPEC is extremely important because they are the group that is responsible for dictating worldwide oil prices. And when you start having to pay for gasoline, you're going to understand how important OPEC really is. A stateless nation is a group of people without a country. There are two examples of stateless nations in Southwest Asia that you learned about. One is the Palestinians. They are a group of people that do not have a country. The other example is the Kurds. The Kurds are an ethnic group that are spread out among Turkey, Iran, and Iraq, and they do not have a country, but they want one. A refugee is a person that is fleeing their home because something bad is happening there, and they have to go to a neighboring country. You're going to find a lot of refugees that are fleeing Israel and going to Jordan because they are Palestinians. They could also be fleeing wars going on in Afghanistan or Iraq and fleeing to other countries. If you have any questions, come to tutorials on